first grade when I learned how to curse. I got friends that didn't make it to be 29. It's all a simulation anyways. That's the only way that I could justify these glitches in the system. I took LSD for 30 days. X-rays showed holes in my brain. I lost memories. Things are different. All right. All right. Enough of that. How are y'all fucking doing today? I got a fucking microphone. I got some fucking notes. Let's do a podcast, bitches. So yeah, that was MGK. That was MGK. Tell me what's up. We'll be doing a song of the week. As you guys see, from now, as you guys see, my name is JD's Tunes. And it is because generally everything I put on this channel is my tunes, what I like. You know, back in the day when he had, oh man, what's your tunes, man? These are my tunes right here. It was just a plethora of different songs that you like. So I'm gonna be doing that same thing, but only I'm gonna be showing you football, as you guys know, talking about football. But also, beginning of every show, I'm gonna be playing a tune of the week. So anyway, welcome back. This podcast isn't gonna be my normal. It's Thursday today. 1 3:30 on a Thursday. Football. Thursday night football tonight. And why don't we kind of start right there with Thursday night football? So obviously it is. Why can I not? Seahawks and Cardinals tonight. I kind of think of that at 8:15, of course, on Prime. Yeah, I think the Seahawks are favored. I think they'll probably win. Cardinals are pretty good this year, though. But I'm not gonna spend a ton of time talking about Thursday night football. Um, what I am gonna spend some time talking about, however, is the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones. So, the name of this is going to be "Why Are We Different This Year?" And the number one reason for that, as you guys know, his name is Danny Dimes. Um, so first, let's just start with some stats here from this year and a little from next year. Per Next Gen Stats, Daniel Jones has completed 27 of his 43 pass attempts for a league high 415 yards and a touchdown against the Blitz this season. That's against the Blitz. Jones has recorded the second highest dropback success against the Blitz this season at 59.6%. Then some more stats here. Daniel Jones is 3-0, obviously, 71% completion, 6 total touchdowns, 871 yards with no turnovers. Um, Indianapolis ranks number 1 in the league for a yard gained per play. Daniel Jones has the second highest QBR in the NFL on throws that he's under pressure, 97.6 it is. It is one of the most remarkable things about his start, considering how poor he's performed in the past when under duress. Previously, his career QBR in that scenario was 16.4. Daniel Jones is just very different. The Indianapolis Colts are second in yards gained, only behind the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo was at 420 yards per game, and the Colts at 418.7. So we're a yard point 1.3 yards behind. Daniel Jones is the only player in the Super Bowl era with 3+ pass touchdowns, 3+ rushing touchdowns, and 0 turnovers for his first 3 games of the season. Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones' old quarterback, warned a while back that Daniel Jones wasn't the problem in New York, stating, "It ain't the quarterback. The same outcome when we had DJ as quarterback." So he was saying that quarterback at the time, it ain't the quarterback. As of September 25th, 2025, the Indianapolis Colts have gained 1,256 yards. That is crazy. Through his first 3 games, Daniel Jones went 75.9% for completion, 272 yards in that first game, 316 yards in that second game against Denver with a 67.6% pass completion, and 228 yards against the Titans for 72% completion. By the way, the Giants have only gained 778 passing yards this year as a total. This is all better than his best year with the Giants, which was 2022, where they went 9-6-1. His first three games there, he threw 188 yards, 176 yards, 196 yards. First three games. Next game or third game, fourth game, he threw 71 yards, and that's in his best season. So, do we extend him? I think the answer is time will tell. Um, hmm. So I asked ChatGPT to come up with a couple of outstanding facts, and this is what it says about Daniel Jones. No quarterback in the Super Bowl era has ever started a season with three passing touchdowns and three rushing touchdowns and zero turnovers until Daniel Jones did it in 2025. In other words, combining all those three elements in a season in the first three games or an early stretch is unprecedented as far as historical record books show. Analysts have already flagged that as a first. This is what my cousin, who is a Vikings fan, by the way, texted me the other day about Danny Jones and the whole team. Bro, y'all might actually have something this year. Between the new DC seemingly knowing how to move the guys, Danny Dimes at the helm, and JT taking off like he is, Colts look 200 times better than they did last year. What's my point with all of these stats that I'm reading out? Is that Danny Dimes is absolutely cooking. And sometimes you need to get to a different spot in your career, in your life. Sometimes even regular people who work at a job for 10 years, they quit and they go to a different job with different management, different leadership, and they succeed, they do well. And it's because how they work wasn't it didn't work the same with how that place they worked at first worked, how they operate. And I believe that's the same for Danny Dimes. I am very high on Daniel Jones. And the thing about it is the reason I was so skeptical, and the reason I still am saying, let's not like crown him, although I am very high on him, is it, it, watch some of his film from the New York Giants. Go ahead. It's not good, I'll tell you right now. So, and here's the thing. Here's another thing. It's not just him. I wanted to spend the first good bit of this video going over him, but it is certainly not just him, and it's lots of people. But I think two other people really need to be recognized. One is the offensive line as a whole. The offensive line, although not perfect, because no offensive line is going to be perfect, has really held their own for everything from runs to passes, anything they can hold their own for and really have created nice pockets for Danny Dimes. If you look at his, excuse me, sorry, 1 second. Apologize. If you look at his New York film, he very rarely had any like support, any how am I'm trying to think of another word for this. It seemed like he was out there by himself. It seemed like he really was just out there on an island, getting sacked, hooking up balls because he felt like he needed to rush it. And I feel like here he's way more comfortable in it. That's in Indy at least. He's way more comfortable under the pocket. He feels like he can trust the guys in front of him a little more. He feels like if he hands the ball to JT, just like he felt like if he handed the ball to Saquon, he's going to do something with the ball if it is all possible. So I think that I'm very high on this whole team. I think the defense is something that absolutely needs spotlighted. Going over a few things here about the defense. I don't have a ton of stats when it comes to the defense, but I wrote down some things. So Lou Anarumo has changed this team, especially the defense. And how he's done it is being aggressive in free agency. Even when Kenny Moore went down, we immediately signed Mike Hilton, who was a former Bengal, like um, Xavier and Howard. Like we get people in there when we need them. And Lou has really brought a sense of, man, I don't want to say like they were not rough before, like rough and tough they were, but definitely a sense of like masculinity to the whole thing, like a whole like raw type of attitude, which is great when you're playing football. Like when you're playing football, that is amazing. Um, so he brought in Cam, he brought in Mooney Ward, um, he brought in a couple. And I know he's gonna say that he didn't do this; it was all Chris Ballard, but I genuinely think it was the leadership, Chris Ballard, and a lot of Lou Anarumo and the head coach all kind of working together to do this. But I don't think it's a coincidence that we got about a lot of ex Bengals on our team. Okay. uh, some other people on the team that needs highlighted: Kenny Moore. Of course, he's injured, which is not good. Latu, DeForest Buckner. We have some killers. Big Grove. We have some killers. I watched Cam Bynum's interview on Pat McAfee, and I took a couple three takeaways from it here. Number one, he loves Lou Anarumo, and that is one big reason why I think that everything is very different. The practice report just came through on my screen there. I'm gonna have to look at that right now. Let's just a little live update. Why don't we? DeForest Buckner limited in practice. Matt Gonsalves did not practice. Anthony Gold is sick, did not practice, or illness. It says Xavier Howard is a rest. He rested yesterday. He was a full go today. Kenny Moore the second did not practice. Alec Pierce did not practice. Rigoberto Sanchez is back out there. He had a personal matter yesterday. Um, Braden Smith has a heel limited today. Grover Stewart rest did not practice today. It's your live update there from injury report from the Colts. So we have a team. Do you extend Daniel? You wait until you have to wait. Okay, you can't crown him after week 3. But at the same time, you recognize how great we've been. You recognize how awesome it all is, and yeah. So I'm also gonna do another little segment here where just news around the NFL. Just get some top stories trying to go here. Rattle off some scores. The Browns beat the Packers this week. And that's crazy. That's something to talk about because like the Browns beat the Packers. That's not something we thought. We thought the Packers were going to the Super Bowl, didn't we? Um, Vikings ran over the Bengals this week, and that is crazy, man. Like it was a crazy situation because when he hit that field goal, I was like, I still couldn't believe they won. Like it was blew my mind. Um, so let's talk about some breakout performers from the week. Caleb Williams had a huge game in the Bears' 31-14 win over the Cowboys. He threw 4 touchdowns. Isaiah Rodgers, from Colt defensive performance, was historic in Minnesota's blowout. Jordan Davis with the Eagles earned Special Teams Player of the Week after blocking a kick and scoring. There's a couple injury headlines here across the league. We have DeJuan Jones from the Browns, from the Browns, is out for the season after a knee injury. Nolan Smith of the Eagles was placed on IR, along with cornerback Bennett and Darius Cooper from the Eagles. Nick Bosa reportedly dealing with a knee issue. Um, Best games of the week here. What to watch going into week 4. Matchups to keep an eye on are the Vikings and the Steelers, the Colts and the Rams, the Saints and the Bills, and the Browns and the Lions. Jaden Daniels is returning. Limited practice. He could be back soon. The QB storylines are heating up. Dart in New York, Williams in Chicago, and others trying to find footing as like Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray and a couple others. Um, Offensive Player of the Week, AFC was Jonathan Taylor. In the NFC, it was Caleb Williams. AFC Defensive Player of the Week was Derwin James. And the NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Isaiah Rodgers. The NFC Special Teams Player of the Week was Andre Smite. And the NFC was Jordan Davis. So yeah, um, it's kind of all I wanted to go over. That's kind of the story today. But I'm very very optimistic about this Colts team. More optimistic than I have been in many years. And my only hope is that we continue this momentum. We ride in the back of Daniel Jones, the back of Jonathan Taylor, the back of Michael Pittman, the back of Josh Downs, the back of all these people, the back of the defense, right on into the playoffs. And what do you know? Right on into maybe a Super Bowl. Thanks. Y'all have a great